Welcome back to Forte Financial. I'm Karen Mulreed, and my guest today is Claire Guest. And she is a
Hello.
real estate agent throughout Connecticut. And we are here today to talk about investing in
Yes.
real estate, how to finance an investment property, and what to look for when you're purchasing investment property, and anything you ever wanted to know about investment properties.
But we're
So,
afraid to ask.
very nice. So,
Hello.
Claire, just let's tell the our listeners a little bit about you.
Well, as Karen said, I have been in real estate for a little while, about 8, 9 years. I have closed quite a few transactions, and most of them have been with investors. I didn't start out that way. It just kind of happened. I met one lady who introduced me to a friend, who introduced me to a friend. And before you know it, I have closed 50 to 60 investment properties in the past 2 years with the same group of people.
So you're referral based, like
Very,
most of
very
us,
much.
right?
Very, very, very much so. It's I get referrals from mortgage brokers, but most of my referrals are from repeat customers,
Right.
which I
Which is the
appreciate.
best.
They're absolutely the best because then they know me. They're not surprised when I show up with a big smile and an umbrella on a sunny day. They're used to me, and I'm getting used to them. A lot of people are from New York. They're from Long Island, Brooklyn, Queens, and they have a certain let's do it, quick, quick, quick attitude. And I'm very happy to accommodate. Because in a past life, I used to be a chef.
I know,
And
and I think the tie-in between being a chef
yes,
and a real estate agent is
huge.
huge.
It's a huge
Definitely.
connection. Yeah, you need to be able to balance multiple things at the same time, not lose track of any of the details, and pivot when necessary. Yes, you're following a formula. For shucks. For example, you've got your do we pause and then turn that off? I thought I had put on do not disturb. You have to be able to roll with the punches and take care of things as they happen in the minute. Ta-da!
Like we
And
just
not lose focus. And if something does happen, it's a little bit of a disaster. You also need to have your experience, you need to have your tools, and you need to have your team around you. So we could, my goodness, the appraisal didn't come through. What do we do? Let's talk to the mortgage broker. Let's talk to the seller. Let's talk to the buyer and come together on a consensus. How are we going to fix this problem without losing a beat and keeping going? The goal is to get a property at a decent price with a good return, however that happens.
And thank goodness appraisals have not been an issue because
At one point they were.
Right, but properties have never valued for higher than I think they do today.
Yes.
And I think it's a great time for investors to take a new look at real estate because rates are a little bit lower or a lot lower than they have been.
Yep.
And it makes it more affordable and it makes the cash flow work.
Yes.
So what is the most important piece of information that your buyers ask you about investing?
What are the rents going to be?
Right.
What is the income from this property? If the rents are, say, for example, buy a property in, just pick a town in the middle of the state, Meriden. Great. We have this lovely property, $400,000, but you're not getting more than $1,200 per unit. That's not going to work because the taxes, the insurance, and the price of the mortgage knock that out of the way. But say you get something in Brantford. Great. You're going to get $1,950 for a 500 square foot apartment in a 3-family building. So if you get that building for X number of dollars, as long as you're making $500, $600, $700 a month, that's where my investors want to be. They have quite tight margins unless they come in with cash. If they come in with cash, you can make a lot more, but it's difficult to commit $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 to an investment property and have to wait for the years to get it back.
Well, you want to kind of leverage your available cash so that you can buy multiple properties. But as you said, it's location, 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 like we always say in real estate.
Yes.
And it's funny that you mentioned the rents being the most important because one of the best products, mortgage products that we have for investment properties is what we call DSCR. That's the acronym for debt service debt service coverage ratio.
Yes.
And what does that mean in English? It means that we use the rental income
Mm-hmm.
to qualify for the mortgage
Mm-hmm.
and the financing as opposed to your own personal income.
That is catnip to our investors because a lot of the people I work with have 10, 15, 40 doors. So they have a lot of their money tied up with their income stream, but they can't show a lot of money in the bank because they're constantly shelling out for their mortgages. So you get this beautiful self-contained property. It's supporting itself with the income it's going to make. And something else I look for is if the building is either fully occupied or partially occupied. Some people make the mistake of thinking, oh, I want to sell my multifamily house, but I have to evict all my tenants. Nay.
No.
We want your tenants. We want those
Exactly.
valid leases. The pro forma leases, yes, sometimes they're pie in the sky. I see people come up with these crazy leases. Oh, we're going to get $2,500 for this apartment. On the moon, sure, but not in Brantford. But in Brantford, you have somebody with $1,950 a month. Super. We can use that income that exists and is valid and is documented to qualify you with no paperwork apart from within the property itself.
Right. And you don't even need the renter necessarily in the unit.
No, you need to prove the lease.
Right.
That's it.
But what the appraiser will do is provide a rent schedule with the projected rents. So we use that in order to qualify because a lot of people have a lot of deductions, and accountants are nice and creative in trying to make it, you always want to pay as little as possible, but if you have a lot of deductions, then your net doesn't always reflect what what the income could be.
Correct.
So we like to use this product to help investors buy easily. Plus, it eliminates the tax returns needed, and so there's all sorts of variations of that type of financing to help the client.
But we have to remember that this is not for the buyer. This is not for somebody who wants to flip it after 3 years or 4 years, because I understand most of them come with penalties. I've seen 3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
No, I mean, it's usually 1 to 3 year prepayment period. But then we have we have bank statement programs, which have no prepayment penalty whatsoever.
Oh, perfect.
So we have those, and it uses the deposits to qualify.
Okay.
So that's another option for many of our buyers. But it really, I don't want any buyer to think that they should come in knowing what kind of financing that they need. They should. What I like to do is, consult them on what the best option is. And it really depends on your situation and how many properties you have, how many units are in the building, what your credit looks like, how much do you want to put down. There's so many variables that there isn't one product that suits everyone.
Sure.
And I'm happy to have that available because it does make your job easier.
Yes.
And we like when investors invest in more property.
We absolutely do. And that is why it's wonderful for me to know somebody like you as a friend. So I can just ask you a simple question. Hey, I'm probably going to meet with somebody in a few days. He is used to dealing this one particular broker in New York. What can we do to compare your products at Forte to the products he gets from, I don't know, some other ABC company?
We are extremely lucky to be licensed in both Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Florida, the Carolinas, Texas. So we do have a lot available to buyers, and there are so many products right now, and there are so many variations. You can put 20% down. You can put 25% down. You can.
Do you have any with less than 20%? Because I do have some people who, again, are slightly cash poor because they're constantly putting the money back into their business. They're property rich, but cash poor. Do you have anything for maybe 15% down?
It depends on the type of mortgage that they qualify for.
Okay.
So, for instance, if you go with a conventional mortgage, you can put 15% down on a single-family property. It's a change that they made, I guess, within last year or two. So that's been very enticing
Cool.
for buyers. So conventional, of course, is always the lowest rate, but it's the most paper intensive, which is fine. And if you have all your paperwork lined up, and most of the investors that I work with, they do have their paperwork all lined up because once you do it once, all we do
Yes.
is update.
Right.
And it really makes life easier.
Is there a difference with the 15% for a single family that you buy for an investment or a multifamily?
It depends if you're planning to live in the property or not. My biggest
Most of them don't.
well, the best way I have found to give people a taste of what it's like to be a landlord and an investor is when they buy a 2 to 4 family. They live in one of the one of the units.
Yep.
They can buy with an FHA loan, which allows for low down payment, not so perfect credit, lower cash reserves. It's a great way to enter that market. And once you have a home and can leverage the equity that you have in that home, it makes it so much easier to put those funds towards the next home.
Okay,
or the next investment property.
So perfect. So this is exactly what I have. I have a new lady who I met at an auto body shop. Imagine me just chatting to somebody. So she was asking me about buying a 2-family house to live in half of it. But
perfect.
What if she falls in love with this idea? Her son wants to get involved. Her mother wants to get involved. Her daughter wants to get involved. How many can they buy as a group? Do they form an LLC? What's the best way to go from one where they're all living together to getting 2, 3, 4, 5 down the line? What's a kind of a timeline I should guide her to manage her expectations?
Well, you can form an LLC anytime, but with a conventional mortgage, you're not putting the title in an LLC. You are doing that with those DSCR, or when you use the rental income to qualify for the financing.
Okay.
And for that, you can always use an LLC. And that's what attracts most of my investors towards that type of loan, aside from the fact that there's little paperwork involved.
Right. So there's not really a limit to the number of homes you can buy with a conventional mortgage? There
is, I believe it's 11 properties with Fannie, 11 with Freddie.
Okay. So technically
it does, it is a lot of property that you can own.
Okay.
But with, the DSCR, it's unlimited.
Well, that I know.
Right.
That I know. But those are not owner occupied. You are not allowed to live in those.
You're not allowed to owner occupy those. But to get into the market, I like the conventional, 1 or 2 units. I think it gives people a taste of what it's really like to be a landlord. And is this for me?
Well, and I do have 2 clients who, one of them, he bought a house. He was going to use it as an investment. He wound up living it, and he doesn't want to be an investor anymore. Okay, fine. And I have another client who bought a 3-family house, and after 18 months, he said, please help me sell this thing. I cannot take one more phone call about the lawn about this house. It's not for everybody. You need to have a certain amount of hands-on to maintain your property, because obviously it's a huge asset, but you cannot let people run you ragged. You need to draw a certain boundary. Or get a property manager.
Property manager is the way to go. I was just going to suggest that because they can take, although they charge for their service as they should, but they're taking a lot of the burden off of you. But it also allows you to expand where you are purchasing investment property, because you really want to purchase investment property in a town or a city where there's lots of workers, near hospitals, or near bigger business
or universities.
Yes, where they need renters. Anyone going to school is looking to rent. Doctors, nurses, residents, they're all looking for places to live. And it's a great that's what makes those properties most attractive.
No, true. I mean, location. So as far as circling back to property management, I have a few people I work with, and they're starting to get too many to handle. One lady has 12, and it's starting to get a little frazzly. It's not like my guy who couldn't handle 3 apartments, but she has 12 properties and she's just about to buy one more. What would you suggest she looks for in a property manager?
Well, I think you have to look at what it is they're going to take care of for you,
Right.
and how much that's going to cost, and
Mm.
how they pay it out, and do they collect the rents for you? Do they just hire someone to fix the plumbing or
Mm.
the electricity or whatever? But I think most of them are full service and will do
Mm.
all of that for you.
And you need a
And
license to be a property manager, correct?
no, I would imagine
That I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll find
I
out.
really don't.
I'll have to find out.
But recommendations and
Yeah.
referrals are the best way to go for that
Mm.
service or any other service.
Mm. Mm.
I'm finding.
Yeah. Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is drive from Long Island to Connecticut to let somebody in at 1:00 in the morning because
Right.
they lock themselves out.
Yeah, you're not going to do that.
No.
No. I mean, or for any of those. Any emergencies that come up, you just
Mm.
never know. It's not anyone's fault, but something will happen,
Yes.
and you need to take care of it.
Yeah. True.
But
True.
yeah,
True.
and when you for the first couple, you're probably not hiring a property manager.
No, if you have one or
because-
two, I agree,
Right.
because you're just going to eat up all your profits.
But you-
I've seen people charge $50 a month flat for each door they maintain. Or I've seen people charge a percentage.
Right.
Or they have it in the lease and they say, okay, it's $35 per month for an on-call property manager. If you choose not to pay that $35 a month, you lock yourself out. You're calling Mr. Locksmith.
Right.
You're on your own. But that's another thing I tell people is you've got to make sure, and I'm very happy to help you with this, you've got to have a rock solid lease. You've got
Yes, you
to
do.
have you cannot go overboard like line 17. I will not leave wet towels on the floor. It's like, we're not your mommy. We understand that you're going to live
Right.
in your home the way you are. But about dogs, cats, other pets, snakes to terrorize everybody else in the building. Who's in charge of doing the lawn if you have a multifamily
Right, or
house?
snow removal. I mean,
Yeah,
all of those
exactly.
items have to be outlined
Yeah.
so that you're covered,
Mhm.
as the owner, but
Mm.
also your renters are,
Mm.
you know exactly who is responsible for what.
Managing expectations.
That is a
Yeah.
big job for both of us.
Yeah.
And especially getting started, like I
Mm.
always recommend that before anyone buying their property for themselves, buying their first home,
Mm.
their second home, their fifth home or investment property,
Yeah.
they should come in. I say come in. Talk to us about
Give me a jingle.
what the
Yeah.
what the process is, and
Yeah.
do they qualify, and what does that payment look like,
Mm.
and what are they responsible for?
Mm.
Principal, interest, taxes, insurance, flood insurance if necessary, homeowners
Flood insurance,
association.
That's right. That can be astronomical.
Well, I mean, it's something that that should be checked out before, because that will help you determine whether or not there is sufficient cash flow to make this work.
Right. Right. Right.
You know,
Right.
And I'm always try to practice responsible lending and never want anybody to take on more than they can handle
Mm.
or feel comfortable with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
I have seen people with houses that properties that are right at the edge of their income limits, and then they wind up selling them because they took on more than they could handle. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so we do encourage. I do encourage buyers to get their feet wet.
Mhm.
Maybe own a multifamily
And live in it. That's
and live in
actually, yeah.
or also like a least expensive way to finance. Also, conventional would be next.
Mhm.
Your bank statement programs or your a variety of
No doc loans.
no doc loans or
Yeah.
light doc loans we
Right.
have too, where
Yeah.
maybe the cash flow doesn't completely cover
Mm.
the
Expenses.
expense, but your income. Say, we have like a verification of income.
Mhm.
What kind of income are you getting from your employer? Just a verification, just a form,
Mm.
and what does that cover?
Okay, so then somebody could say, okay, maybe not 100%, but 70%
Right.
of the loan. Now, what about condominiums? Because
Condominiums?
I
Sure.
know a lot of my investors love condos because they're in other states. One of my ladies is in Virginia. So what's she going to do? Again, Godzilla comes along and stomps on the building. You call the HOA. But condos are a different mortgage animal, correct?
Well, I think the mortgage process is the same
Mm,
for a condo or a single family, multifamily. The process of qualifying is the same.
mhm.
So you're either documenting your income or you're not, but you're always showing assets because you want to show the savings that you have for down payment, money for closing,
Mm,
and you also want to show that you do have some reserves. The
mm.
lenders like to see that you have additional monies anywhere from 3 to 6, 12 months even, depending upon the program
Mhm.
that you have available to you. What if something happens that your renter leaves?
True.
You
Or you
need to
have
be
to
able
evict them or
right, you
something like
need to be
that.
able to
Yeah.
cover those rents, so that's why they look at the reserves.
Okay.
And,
And
you
have you
know
had certain challenges with certain condo complexes? I know sometimes the condo questionnaire has become more and more
well,
convoluted over the
the
years.
condo questionnaire is it's a little more detailed now because, you know, they wanna make sure that condos are safe and
Mm,
there's no health or safety issues for sure, because
mhm.
remember, the lender has to practice responsible lending, and if they take a look at a property and they say, "Yes, it's okay at closing," we wouldn't want anything to happen to that property. So
True.
they do check to make sure that everything is up to date
Mm.
and, it's taken care of.
So
I
that's what
mean,
they mean by warrantable or
right,
non-warrantable.
we wanna make sure that everything is working
Mm.
and there's no repair issues that haven't been taken care of
Okay.
because you're counting on that. Yeah,
Yes, and you're also counting on the HOA to be responsible and to take care of what they say they're going to do.
check your bylaws,
Yeah.
check, your condo information. There's nothing that takes the place of that
Mm,
to see what's covered and what's not. But, the process, and I tell people it's the same if you're buying a $200,000 property or
mm,
you're buying a $2 million property.
mm,
Income, savings, credit, debt, it applies to every transaction in some form or another.
mm.
So,
So there you go.
always, you never take on more especially when you're looking for financing.
Mm.
Don't take on any more debt while you're in the process of searching for a new
Oh, I've
home
seen that
or an
happen.
investment property.
A huge
Right.
mistake.
Don't take on of course you have to live and you have to, if you need a new car, you need a new car, but we need to take that into consideration
Right.
when we look at your credit profile to
Mm,
make sure that that new car payment works
right.
as well as the old one did.
Yeah, what they call it, the debt to income ratio,
Debt to
right?
income
Yeah.
ratios.
I actually had a deal that almost fell apart because about 3 weeks before we were supposed to close, the buyer decided to lease a car instead of
Yeah.
just buy a car. And I told him, I said, I wish you had spoken to me because I would have advised you, number one, to wait and to rent a car for the time being.
Right.
Or if you purchase a car in cash, you can show that. You could show that, okay, the money's come out, but I don't need it for the mortgage. But a lease, you take the whole length of the lease. You're responsible for the whole 60,000
Well, and
all at
it's just
once.
something that we should talk about because
Yeah.
even using cash sometimes isn't the best way to go because sometimes you need that cash either
Mm,
for your down payment or to qualify for the new financing that you're taking on. So you don't want to
that's
necessarily
true.
use up your cash. You may need it for closing, you may need it for reserves,
Mm,
you may need it for something you didn't think about. You know, maybe the property now costs a little bit more than you originally thought.
mm. Or flood insurance,
Right. Or
something like that.
anything. We should talk about it first. Please don't take it up. I always tell buyers, don't take it upon yourself to know the ins and outs and the nuances of getting financing.
Mm,
That's my job.
that's
And,
true.
just like I tell a teacher, I couldn't teach their third grade class, a doctor, I could not perform surgery. Please don't think that you can do your own financing because it's
True.
just not as easy. And
Yeah.
I couldn't, as much as I love being in the real estate industry.
Mhm.
Could I sell a house? I could not.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
And I just stay in my lane.
That's what my manager at Ravis always says. Stay in your lane, stay in your lane. And I will tell people, they'll ask me all kinds of questions. And if I know because it's personal experience, or they'll say, well, golly, I need to do X, Y, and Z, I'll say, I believe it's okay, but that's an attorney question. I believe it's
Right.
okay, but that's a lender question. You know what?
Exactly.
Let's call Karen.
Right.
We're buddies. Let me
Exactly.
call
And,
Karen.
it's
Yeah.
it's a team effort. And
Mm.
it's really a lot of factors that go into making a successful and stress-free real estate transaction. And I know that that's your main focus.
My main focus is to get somebody the property they want at a price they can afford in a stress-free, enjoyable manner, because it can be enjoyable. It's like all these little
It's a lot of
triumphs.
fun.
And to get a product that you're proud of, that you're happy with. And one of my ladies, she bought a property about 5 years ago, and now we're using the refinancing of that property, which has literally doubled in value, to qualify her to buy another property. So she's also doing a tax exchange, so she's not going to have to pay on any of the money she's taking out. She's putting it directly into another property. And
Right.
I am so pleased and proud to be able to help her. I remember we started, our first transaction was a $67,000 condo.
Right.
Now
And
she's getting a $400 and something thousand multifamily house.
that
And
is,
I'm just like, look at this.
it's fabulous to watch your clients grow with you.
It really is.
And
Yeah.
and to that point about refinancing, that's one of the reasons why some of my buyers take on a bank statement loan, because
Okay.
there is no payment penalty
Okay.
associated with that. And if rates continue to decline as we're all expecting,
I mean,
then
not
you can-
immediately. I've seen,
right. But
yeah,
a
little
but
drop.
over the next 12 to 24 months, if we do
Yes.
see a decline in rates, you want to be able to take advantage of that.
Yes.
And we will certainly
Yeah.
help with that.
Yeah.
And it's an easy way to save some money refinancing, right?
Yep.
To a lower rate, and you're not tied into that prepayment. So, conventional loans, or FHA loans when you're living in the property,
Mhm.
or those bank statement loans will allow you to do that easily.
Yeah.
Now, the DSCR, which does streamline the paperwork.
Yes.
There are that can be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Those prepayment periods
And
can be
what
for
are
any
those-
length of time.
Yeah. What are those percentages usually? Is it like 5% or 6% of
Some
the?
of it is 3-2-1.
Okay.
So they're all different. Every lender and every product has a different structure.
Yeah.
Don't worry about those details. You tell me what it is you want to do. What is your financial goal here?
Mhm.
And we will help you achieve that.
Yeah.
It's that's why we work hand in hand so well together,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you have the same methodology when it comes to helping your clients
Yeah.
purchase their investment properties.
Yeah.
And they're saying, their primary residences,
Yeah.
second homes. I mean, I'm sure you do
Vacation
it all.
homes.
Right.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
do it all.
Yeah. No, I have. I've helped people who I've never met in person until the day of the closing,
I know.
which is bizarre. I helped somebody move from London to Woodbridge, Connecticut, and I met them at the walkthrough.
Right.
It was strange, but true.
Right. That happens
Yeah.
to all of us
I know,
right now,
I
because
know.
technology allows us
But look at us
to
now.
right. But technology allows it to be much more secure
Yeah. Yeah.
and much easier.
Yeah.
And more stress-free, and spending less time doing
Driving
mortgage
around with
preparation,
pieces of paper.
as opposed to looking at homes and purchasing them, and just being able to preview them online.
Mm.
Now, I mean, you can either rule out or,
Even though
hone in.
photos can be very, very deceiving. We all know that.
But you've previewed
Yeah.
many, many homes.
I have,
So
and that's
you do
something
know.
that's something I do for my clients because they're not going to drive from Virginia or New York City. Even New York City, it's sometimes it's just too far. You get stuck on a highway somewhere and you're 4 hours late. What do you do? So
Right.
99% of the time I will go and I will make a video and I will open all the cabinets, open all the doors, run all the faucets, flush all the toilets. I will do everything to, okay, this probably is a good one. If you like it, let's put an offer contingent upon walking the property. And I've done that many, many, many times. And I've only had 1 or 2 people change their minds over 50, 60, 70 transactions. And it's because things weren't quite what you thought they were.
Right.
When you go up to the attic or you go down into the basement. That's what I tell people. Everything can be fixed except your location.
Right.
And if you've got a crummy basement. If it's a little bit of water, we can take care of it. But if you have a crumbling foundation, let's not go for that.
That's something the owner has to take care of.
Yeah.
Unless like we have done rehab loans for those type of properties. There's always that option.
So what would you suggest people expect with a rehab loan? Come with a contractor and a tape measure?
Know
the first
exactly
showing?
what you need to do
Yeah.
and what's expected, because you are going to want to outline, and the lender's going to want you to outline everything that is going to be done or needs to be done.
With a licensed contractor on
Yes,
paper.
a licensed contractor on paper. And there's certain inspectors that we suggest because they excel in, both the construction and in inspection.
Okay.
So we do have a list of those that we provide. And you really want to know what the scope of your project is, because you're purchasing the home for X amount of dollars, and then you want to know how much more do I need to add to that.
Do you have limits? Do you have proportions like 50% or something?
They will. It just depends on the scope of the project and what you want to do.
Okay.
And, we take the purchase price, we add the construction amount. But then, once you add that in, especially if it's a single family home or a multifamily or it's your primary residence, you do want to keep track of the monies that you're investing and what is that costing.
True.
So that, the basic principles of real estate apply to every single type of home or property that you may buy.
Okay. So how would you okay. A lot of people like to buy fixer-uppers because they think, I'm going to buy it for 10 cents and sell it for $1 million.
Well, we know that that's not true anymore. There's nothing selling for 10 cents.
No, it's true. It's true.
Real estate here there's not a huge surplus of homes on the market.
True.
So it's, basic economics, supply and demand. When there's little supply and there's high demand, the prices are higher. And we need to factor that in when we're pre-approving.
So would you suggest to somebody, say they want to get into a house, say they find a lovely house, but it needs some help, but it's habitable, not a big deal. Would you suggest somebody go through a rehab loan or take a home equity afterwards? They've lived in it for a little while.
Well, depending upon what needs to be done and what their timing is like and what they feel that they can tolerate. So, so for some of my first-time buyers who look at homes that need a little rehab, and I bought one myself many years ago, I put as little down as possible so that I had as much cash available on hand to do renovations as I wanted them done. So I could take my time and go over a little longer period of time and leverage my own cash. So I put less down. So I had a higher mortgage loan amount, but I had the cash available to do renovations as I wanted to.
So if somebody doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of cash, but they definitely need a new roof and a new kitchen, so then you would say the rehab loan.
I would say the rehab loan for sure.
Okay.
And as long as they qualify. You can't overspend more than you're able to pay on a monthly basis. So you would take the purchase price, say it's, $400,000. You need another 100, so that's $500,000. Now your down payment is based on a $500,000 total price, and then you're taking it from there.
So then, does the mortgage company pay the contractor the $100,000, or how does that
They would
work?
disperse the money as
The
the
mortgage.
work is done.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
at closing, then we pay the seller, of course. But then as you go on, then you at certain points, the contractor will want those funds reimbursed. So they'll show that, the foundation is done, or that the walls are up, or that the kitchen is done. Whatever those points happen to be in that particular project, then they're paid based on that. There's always somebody to come in and inspect, and now they send pictures. It's much easier than it used to be.
Right.
But that's how it's done.
Now, what if a house needs a complete rehab? As I know, the FHA and the CHFA won't do a loan on a house that doesn't have a functioning bathroom or a functioning kitchen.
Well, I mean, FHA certainly does. They have their 203K loans.
So they would do something if the bathroom didn't exist.
Right. You would have to get a rehab loan.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
A conventional, they are conventional rehab loans as well. No one's going to allow you to be in a home without a functioning kitchen or bathroom.
Right.
I mean, you can't live in that.
Right.
So either you get a rehab loan or you get some type of construction loan that will accommodate that.
Do those cost a lot more than just a conventional loan?
They don't. It's not a lot more, but it's certainly a little higher than your basic, conventional home loan rate, because you're getting the extra advantage.
Juice to do
you're getting the
your
extra
work.
advantage of being able to have construction funds to, rehab that home that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to buy at that point. It's so much cheaper to renovate than it is to
build.
Go out, well, certainly to build, but go out and spend all that money immediately and, put it to your credit cards that are costing you, 25%.
No, that's true.
Interest rate.
That's true. Because even if you're getting 8%, that's a lot better than 24 on your
Absolutely.
Visa or whatever
So,
it is.
We always recommend rehab loans when they fit. Really, there's just no one particular mortgage or financing opportunity that's great for everyone in every situation. I think I've had maybe 8 loans myself in my lifetime, and they were all different for one reason or another. So with, and getting back to the investor, that's what we look to do. There's not one product. There's variations of all of the products that we talked about.
Gotcha. And how many products do you have at Forte? Because I'm going to send my people to you immediately and tell them about their bank statement loans.
30 different lenders, and they all excel in with some of the products or all of the products. They run the gamut. We have a nice set of lenders that we are proud to be in a relationship with, and they have great products and great servicing
and great teams. That's something I have learned. If you cannot get a hold of the underwriter and you can't get an answer out of your lender and you can't get the broker on the phone
that never
at
happens
6
here.
o'clock on a Saturday night, find another one, because it's just, I did have somebody who actually the deal completely fell apart. She thought because she had been a customer of a large bank that shall remain nameless for 25 years that they would help her with her mortgage. And I could not have told her more times, please do not trust a big bank. They do not care about you. I'm sorry. You need to find a mortgage broker who is a human, who will find a product for you, not a big bank that will stick you into their only product, because that's how they work. Sure enough, after 6 weeks, we found the house. We did this, we did that. We did everything possible. I even paid money out of my own pocket to get the septic pumped because that was one of their requirements because I had a heart. I had a heart back in those days. That heart, unfortunately, is a little more like the Grinch's now.
Well, that's not true. I know you too well. But flexibility, variety, reliability, communication, education, those are all important factors when you're dealing with anyone.
Yeah.
Like especially with, someone like yourself and someone who does financing, you want, ethics is very important. We are very we worry about the client. We want
Yes, I want to call her and let her know everything's
Right.
okay. If it's 7:00 on a Saturday, sure, call me. I will speak to you. I will reassure you, or I'll answer your question. Or if you just need a little buck up little camper, I'm there. But you're not going to get that from a 9-to-5 bank. Oh, so back to the story. So 3 days before we were supposed to get our clear to close, the magic CTC, I got a voice memo. He didn't even have the courage to call me. A voice memo came to my cell phone denying the loan.
Ooh.
So we had to start all over again. We went to a mortgage broker.
Right.
And we found a completely different house with a completely different product, and they're living in the house now. And then she said to me, "You told me so."
Well, and you need to be able to pivot. Something may come up that we didn't anticipate or we didn't know was going to surface,
Right.
and we need to be able to quickly pivot. And that is one of the advantages of working with a broker who has 30 or 40 lenders.
Right.
Who work with them to help in any situation. That's why I say there's no one product that accommodates everyone.
Have you ever switched loans in the middle of a deal?
Oh my gosh, I've been doing this for 25 years. Of course I have.
So
Yes,
then
it's a given.
So is it easy enough to do that? So say you're chugging along and you realize, ooh, we're not closing in 2 weeks because this one is not going to make it, and then you just tell everybody we need an extension and
We need
we
an
keep
extension,
going.
or sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It depends on what the closing is and when it pops up. The challenge pops up, but we pivot all the time.
Yeah.
It's,
And then
it's what we excel.
And it's exactly like cooking. You
Exactly.
burn something, whoops, what am I going to replace it with? Somebody has an allergy. Okay, I'm not going to give them the Brussels sprouts. Fine, we're going to do something
Thank you.
else. But you're going to have the same delightful experience with your meal, and I'm going to make it with the same amount of love. It's just going to look completely different. Karen's is going to look different than Claire's, and that's all there is to it. Yeah.
But I mean, keeping the client happy and
paramount.
Low stress is
paramount.
Let's face it, purchasing a property, it's a stressful time. It's a big purchase.
Yeah.
Anything monetarily big, huge
significant
like that.
Yeah.
It's stressful. And it should be because it's really important. There's a certain level of stress that you can't avoid. But anything that we can do to anticipate what's happening next and we can inform you about keeps the stress level very low.
Yeah.
So we hold your hand every step of the way as you do so that we can all toast at the closing.
That's
Yay,
exactly right. Our
we're very
Billicat Summer.
happy. Yes.
Here we are.
And
And
also, there is nothing more important to us than having a happy client refer us to their family and friends and having them have a good experience. There is no greater compliment.
It's true. And our reputations precede us.
Right.
I tell you, people know who we are because, I haven't been in the business that long,
Long enough.
Yeah. But it is nice when people say, "Oh, Claire, yes." And it's not just because of my umbrella, or it's not just because of my voice, or it's not just because, "Oh, you're with William Ravis and I saw you in that advertisement." No, it's because, you helped Amy. Great, you can help me. And then I say, I will do it with joy. Absolutely.
So it's a great time to invest in real estate.
Yes.
We are seeing rates come down a bit. So it's making cash flow even look better. So if anyone listening, if you are looking to buy your first home, buy a second home, a vacation home, investment property, which is the focus of our conversation today,
Condo, multifamily, small building. And remember, there's a huge difference. And I tell this to my clients as well. A little condo is a great way to start if you just
Right.
want to be a hands-off, out-of-state landlord and do a lot of stuff over the phone. Karen's idea of start with one where you can live and then you're on the spot landlord, then you really see what it's like and see if it's for you and you're comfortable with it. Then you get into the
You branch out.
4, 5, 6 unit buildings. That's a completely different product because that's
Right,
considered
sure.
an apartment building, not a house. So that again has different products. But like Karen said, there's not one solution. Not even one solution for the same client. The same client might want multiple solutions for different
And we
different
are
purchases.
all about solutions, aren't we?
We are solution driven.
Yes. So if you have any questions at all about investment properties, either financing or purchasing, please give Clara and myself a call because we would be happy to help you. And I thank you all. Would you like to add anything else?
No, not at all. Not at all. I know there are going to be links to my Instagram, which is fun, interesting, and informative. And I have a few YouTube videos about things like basic mortgages, basic insurance, things like that. And I also have a website. It's very hard, claireguest.com. And that's Claire without an I, CLAREGUEST. There is no I in Claire. There is no I in team.
We will put your contact information together. And,
goody.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me
My
today. I appreciate it.
pleasure.
And thank you all for listening. Bye. Bye.